This is Musings and Counsel from London Baker Law with Debbie London Baker.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's transition now into what is a living will, and then we'll also talk about what's a medical power of attorney.
Okay.
So talk about what is a living will, and what is it that most people don't actually know about it?
The living will, well, people call me all the time and say, I need a living will. And I went, well, for what? And they say, so I can say who I want to handle my estate. I go, that's a will. That's not a living will. A living will is about your end-of-life choices. It's the Florida approved statute form, asks about if you have a terminal condition, an end-stage condition, or a persistent vegetative state, any one of those or all of those three, and two physicians agree that there's no medical reasonable probability of your recovery, which I've come to believe they have to say, because if I told you, Mark, that your wife would absolutely recover and she didn't,
Right. Now
you'd probably have a good reason to sue me because
Sure.
I guaranteed you, right? But then you are asking for life support, however you define that, to be withdrawn upon those conditions. That's your living will. And then Baycare actually has a really good form where you get to choose. Do you get CPR? Do you get intubation? Do you get surgery? Do you get antibiotics? So you can be very specific about what you get, yes or no. And it's, in my opinion, it's not a legally binding document. It's a morally binding document. I can hold it up to you and say, this is what Mom wanted, and you say, no, she didn't. I went, this is what she wanted.
This is what she wanted,
and I don't
yeah.
agree with her, but I promised her I would do it. And that, to me, is important. You got to appoint the person who's going to do what you want.
And is that I didn't hear you use the words medical power of attorney.
It's different.
So explain the medical power of attorney then, how that differs from.
Okay, so the medical power of attorney, or in Florida it's called a healthcare surrogate. That's the person you've appointed to make healthcare decisions for you in the event you cannot do it. So that's the one who would call the doctor and say, Mom did not want surgery, but we think we could make her better. Unless you're going to make her like she was 20 years ago, she didn't want surgery. And you see this other piece of paper called her living will?
Right.
That she didn't want surgery. So go away and thank you for your concern, and we're not doing surgery.
Gotcha. Well, all of these topics are, they're sensitive because they involve human beings and people we love, and we want to make sure all these things are well thought out. And the best way to do that is without the stress of the situation. And so having these plans in place are really important.
This has been Musings and Counsel from London Baker Law. Learn more at londonbakerlaw.com. Thanks for listening.